How to be a construction site supervisor. In this video, I'm going to take a little bit different turn here, or explain it with a twist, and cover specifically some more questions that people have about this in construction, which I love because this means that people are asking the questions and really interested in supervisory positions, which I think is really great. So I have some other videos where I dig into the specifics of the role. This one is going to be answering some really specific questions, and I've already checked them out, obviously, and I think you're going to love them, so stay with me. Okay, so site supervisor, here's what I'm talking about. Anybody who's a supervisor on the site. It could be foreman, it could be specific site supervisor, or it could be superintendent, or like I've said before, in Europe and other places of the world, a superintendent type PM position, or a mix, or like a hybrid. Either way, you're supervising, so it's really easy to talk about this. And here's some really cool questions that I'm going to address right now. So let's get started one by one. Number one, how do I gain leadership experience if I've only ever worked with tools? I am so happy this was a question that was asked. And let me just go ahead and explain my perspective on this. Number one, there's two patterns that you need to embrace to go be a leader. And then I'm going to get you some training, but let me give you some training references. But first and foremost, serve. As soon as you, oh my gosh, I just remembered something. This video is going to be so good. There's a book called The Motive. Actually, I'm going to cover that in a bit. But when you become a leader, I'll just cue it up for you right now. You go into a position of service. A lot of times people will say or think to themselves like, okay, so I've made it here. Now I'm in my corner office and I can just sit around and everybody else does the work. No. The higher you get on the ladder, the harder and harder the things that you get to do. The Motive, that book by Patrick Lencioni, is describing two different mindsets. One is the everybody owes me mindset, and the other mindset is I owe my team and I'm here to serve mindset. So rule number one, if you don't have leadership experience, it's real easy. Just immediately go into serving and enabling. Okay, and let me just expand on that just a little bit. I always talk about this story when I was at the Whole Foods World headquarters in Austin, Texas at Hensel Phelps. And there was a rod buster foreman, or rebar installation foreman, however you want to look at it, or a rebar foreman. They called themselves rod busters, but the foreman for the company was like, for the crew, I feed them information and I feed them materials. And the other thing is encouragement and training and explanation and water. So like there's a really good book called The Captain Class, and it talks about team captains throughout like sports dynasties and how they're always like serving the team. Like a great leader will serve the team. Second, add value. If you want to be a leader, like to this question, you've got to add value to them, add value to them, add value to them. It's really easy. If you want to lead people, add value. I'm reading a really great book. You're going to get lots of book references, and it's called Everybody Matters. And they talk about how they started to, once the company showed that the leaders were there to serve them, even through like the 2008 economic downturn, really wanted to serve and add value to the people. In fact, they measure the success of the company by how they touch the lives of individual people. It's not about profits, it's about how they take care of people. They talked about how the crews and the workers and everybody in the company really started to like become super loyal and super connected to the culture. And there was one part of the story where he talked about how in the 2008 economic downturn, they all shared a furlough and stopped retirement matches for just a little bit of time. And then when the economy came back, the company actually reimbursed them, and they were like, oh my gosh, they really do care. So you don't have to go pay money, but as a supervisor, whether it's a foreman or site supervisor or superintendent, the people that you're attempting to lead will be like, oh my gosh, that's my leader, when they say, oh, he or she really cares. So add value, add value, add value. If you want to be really specific about it, in the book, The Motive, he says the first thing you have to do as a leader or get to do is to build the team. So always be attempting to keep them together. Be willing to have the hard conversations, right? You've heard that there's no better way to disempower, demotivate, and push your best players out of the company. There's no better way than tolerating bad, toxic employees, right? You get to have the hard conversations, right? You get to manage, mentor, and coach, train, and enable your direct reports, right? You get to hold really effective meetings to scale clarity. And then the last one, make sure that everything is absolutely clear. Remember, your crew or the job site is expecting you to provide those things. Do I have what I need? Do I have clarity? Do I have what I need? Do I have clarity, right? So that's what it takes to learn about leadership. And if I were you, I would start reading these books and start to get into how to win friends and influence people. I would start to research other leadership books that you find interesting and really perfect the art. And I don't usually summarize on YouTube videos, but give and serve, add value, and follow that motive in that book, that pattern, and you'll be set. What training should I get while I'm still in the skilled laborer or tradesman role? And I'm just going to tell you straight up, I want you to get the skills. This is how I'll say it. First skills, then you can start practicing with leadership. First skills. If you are a worker or a lead person or a field engineer, get the skill. Learn how to do lift drawings. Learn how to do planning. Learn how to actually lead the crew. Learn how to go do that skill really well. Go learn. Put that tool in your tool belt. Put it in the tool belt. Put it in the tool belt. And then when you've mastered it, then start experimenting with these books and the leadership trainings and the concepts and practicing and volunteering. But if you skip the skills, then you'll go into leadership and you'll be a leader without skills. So field engineer and worker positions, get those skills. Third question, how do I deal with crew members that used to be my peers? They're going to tease you, they're going to rib you, like that's just going to happen, so you got to have a bit of a tough skin there, but serve. Show them that you're not there to lord over them. Prove to them that you're there to support under them. Meaning, like, if people get the sense that it's a triangle with leadership on top versus the inverted triangle where you're there to support them, like, they're not going to respond, they will respond. Not yes. So make sure that even if they're your peers, be like, hey, I know you're making fun of me. I know you're saying I'm lazy and I don't do anything anymore. I'm a seagull. But hey, what do you need? I'm here. Oh, I'll go to work on that. And then they start to see, oh my gosh, this person really cares. And if they start to get abusive and start to like treat you or demean you, hey, we're a team, right? You might have to be a little bit, stick up for yourself a little bit there, but serve them and that problem will resolve itself. Another question is, what is the fastest way to prove that somebody is ready for a supervisory role? Real simple. That you act and see things like other supervisors do. And I'm not talking about race or religion or things like that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that you are connected in the leadership social group and that you see things through their eyes in an effective way and you're able to get things done. And the last question is, do I need to be perfect at the things that I do before I take on a supervisory role? No, you need to be effective. And what I mean by that is that you need to be the one that volunteers, that follows the pattern, that is trustworthy with the process. Oh my gosh, and this is the most important part. Transparent with your communication, which means that you check in and that you leverage the wisdom of the team. If you do that, you're going to be set and you're going to be trusted. I loved this video. I hope you've enjoyed it too. I'm going to turn it into a blog post so that you have the information so you can reference it at any time. I hope you've enjoyed this and I'll see you on the next one. On we go.